Welcome to The Wind Down, an afternoon podcast where two techie blokes sit down over a bowl of wine and chat about what's happening in the world of tech. Enjoy while Scott and Nick open up about their week in technology.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to The Wind Down. We're back again. I'm Nick. This is Scott. Hello, Scott. Where are we? What are we drinking?
Hello, Nick. Hey, we're in the Dee Why Hotel. How great's that?
Oh, we're back here again. We were here ages ago.
Yeah, it's still here.
It is. It's open again after lockdown and all of that.
But you know what happened in the meantime? They put 5G signal in the area, and there's actually coverage here now.
Well, there wasn't last time, so that's kind of cool.
No, it's one of the few buildings in the area, being a hotel of that had no internet.
Yes.
Anyway, it has coverage now. This is great. Hey, I found this bottle.
Yeah.
It's actually from a winery called Brave Souls.
Oh, my goodness.
And I thought that in itself was enough just to say, come on, no one does that for a reason. But, it's actually not half bad.
It's not bad, is it?
It's a Grenache Shiraz Mourvedre. I always pronounce that incorrectly, but anyway. It's called the Able Seaman. It's from the Barossa. And, I'd buy that again.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's quite quaffable, so to speak. I don't mind drinking that.
Yes, I think it outperforms what we had last week.
Almost anything outperforms what we had last week. But
that was an excellent choice. Anyway.
Well, it's your choice, Scott. You're the wine chooser.
Well, there we go.
So we're going to continue now talking about CompTIA's document they released recently, talking about the future of... What are they talking about again?
The top 10 trends in the industry.
Okay.
What's going to be happening? Like where are the big things coming up in 2022?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we covered the top 5 last week.
Yes.
And these are in no particular order, by the way, but here are the bottom 5 of the list, or the numbers 6 to 10.
So we're going to start at number 6. And number 6 is... Channel cybersecurity has a ways to go. In fact, I've got to tell you this. I was reading Twitter today, and somebody said, post something on Twitter that's a talk you could have given 10 years ago that won't be old today. And the first person came back and said, security's an issue.
Security's always going to be an issue. Yes, look, channel cybersecurity, it's an interesting thing. It does have a way to go. I think it's one of those, it's always going to have a way to go.
Yeah. There
is no magic bullet here. It doesn't matter what steps you put in place. Someone's going to come along and create a different approach that's going to need, a different method to protect against it. You look at do we have this sort of ransomware approach of Bitcoin 10 years ago?
Yep.
That's the whole thing there. Did we have, you'd have antivirus on your machine. You'd sort of go, tick, yeah, okay, I'm pretty good. But now it's a lot more than just antivirus.
Yeah, well, in fact, I would say, if you're running Windows, you've got it inbuilt into the platform now, whereas before you didn't. So it's not even
it's a big
antivirus.
Thing.
It's kind of sitting there. And Windows Defender it was derided when it first came out, but really it's really solving the problem for so many PCs out there, except the fact that you go and buy a new manufacturer X and you get McAfee or Northen or one of the others on there.
Yeah.
There's something built in. You don't need anything else.
I think some of those extra add-on bits and pieces are starting to lose their attraction. I don't know.
I think they always have. Microsoft came out with a thing, oh goodness, in the Windows, maybe the Windows 7, maybe early Windows 8, which was really a configuration of a PC you could buy only in the Microsoft store. That was what they called Clean PC.
Oh,
had no other software on it. It was just Windows and Defender, and it was configured okay, and it had nothing else. And those machines ran unbelievably fast because there's no other bloatware in it. And I know I can take a perfectly good computer and make it run really slow by all the rubbish I put on it.
Did they cost twice as much because you had to pay for all the lost advertising revenue and all the...
I'm not sure how much revenue, though. It's interesting. How much revenue is there in those inner box bits of software? Like AOL. There's a billion AOL CDs out there.
Yeah, no, I saw some stats at one point. This is quite a few years ago, though, but it was basically 1 cent was what it cost to put licensed software on a new machine.
Right.
On the basis of, you're essentially giving it away for free and hoping that someone's going to then subscribe when the 3 months or the 6 months or whatever it is runs out.
Yeah.
But you've got to have an operation, therefore, that is very low cost to distribute and run.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
But
so, channel cybersecurity, still got a ways to go, right?
Look, the channel's trying to keep up as much as everybody else in this side of thing. There is a lot of focus on security, certainly. If I went and got 100 MSPs and put them in a room, would I find 100 ranked top security providers in the world sort of thing? No, I wouldn't. And this is just it, that as much as this industry is changing very quickly around cybersecurity, MSPs and the IT providers are rushing to just stay current.
So I'd say, but as a business owner, you got no idea whether your MSP is good at this or bad at this or anywhere in the middle.
Well, most MSPs have got a pretty good grasp on the basics and some of the more advanced features, a lot more than the average business is ever going to.
Sure.
But I'll even say that your average sort of MSP is still going to be 3 to 4 legs behind. If an attack comes in from a nation state on you as the MSP or on one of your clients, I don't have any expectations that the average security stack that's being deployed is actually going to protect against that.
No, well, most things wouldn't, and hence, really, I think the rush to the cloud, because you get as part of your cloud subscription. You look at Microsoft 365, for example. It's teams of people doing security for that 24/7.
Absolutely.
You can't offer that as a small MSP, right?
Yeah, Microsoft's got billions of dollars or something tied into security. That's right. Anyway, what else have we got there?
So there we go. Consulting, today's channel opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, well, I guess there's a lot of room for professional services and projects and that sort of thing, and also looking at some of the key areas around like the AI data, looking around the machine learning part, looking around IoT. Those are skill sets that your average business doesn't have.
So why are customers looking for those types of projects and skills? What's driving that kind of activity?
I'll go back a step. A lot of them wouldn't even know that they needed it before you start to get a more strategic view of IT in, saying, look, you go and you're an agriculture organisation, you go and grow crops, you do this, you do that. Hey, do you know that this is what modern agriculture looks like, where we put sensors in, IoT devices, we collect a lot of data, we automate watering, all this, and that is the way a lot of these businesses work these days. But if you went back 20 years and explained that that's how it's going to look, you'd sort of, you're kidding. Well, what did you just do?
Yeah. Yeah, so, but that's true. And we're hearing, everything from wineries having a little sensor by every one of their grapevines to make sure they've got the right moisture and everything, to enhance yield, which brings in more revenue.
Well, that's just it. Or is it just maintaining competitiveness these days?
Yeah.
When you look at some businesses out there that are only just getting to the point now of looking at, how can we make our operation a bit more smarter? We said, well, go and look at what your competitors are doing and try to do half of that, and that'll get you a bit further up the track. But you either get the choice in this. You're either going to be a market leader in trying to be efficient, effective, competitive, and drive that forward to the point where you are the competitor that everyone else is looking at, or you're playing catch-up.
Yep.
There's not a lot of gap in between. So
yeah, no, for sure. It's actually really interesting. I'm thinking of, that kind of consulting comes in where we watch organisations either try and reduce costs or increase profit or sell more or predict sales, and all of those are possible with data and consulting and smart things.
Yes.
But you've got to make sure the customer's mature enough to land the results of that consulting into their business, right?
That's right, and they're unlikely to have these skills in-house, which is why the technology companies, the MSPs and so forth, are the ones generally with a better grasp on what is at least possible, or enough to paint a picture on what you could be doing, to the point of then you go and investigate, well, can we do this? Is this feasible? Will I get a good result if I do this?
Yep. No, for sure. So we've got all of that. That's positive. We've talked about cybersecurity, we've talked about consulting, we've talked about using technology, but you can't buy it.
Well, there's a minor issue. There's a supply chain issue, of course, isn't there?
There's a big one.
There's a big chip supply chain issue, and I was listening to some recent things actually, and this isn't. There's a few things causing this. This isn't just that you've got cars that need about 8 or 9 chips that go in them, and we can't get any of them. This is going a lot further. We're looking at things like, are there geopolitical issues coming into play?
Yeah.
But you're also looking at countries have got their own issues they're trying to deal with. Like some of the China factories we saw recently, they lost power.
Yeah, there
because
you go. There's one thing I was reading the other day. There's only a handful of chip fab facilities on the planet, and they're centered in 2 countries, China and Taiwan. I believe there's 2 in Taiwan and like 2 or 3 in China.
There's one and a bit in Texas as well, and even Samsung's just opening up another one. They've just committed to another one in the US.
Yeah, because you now... And chip fabs are crazy. Right? I was listening to an article on this. Billions of dollars to build a chip fab facility. It's a crazy, difficult, complex facility. And you've got to get the throughput to make it viable. And, chips... Yeah, okay, the high-end processors cost hundreds of dollars, but most chips that drive most things are cents or fractions of cents.
Yeah, look, an Ethernet controller, when they started to put them into laptops many, many years ago, the actual chip component price of the Ethernet controller that would be added on was 11 cents.
Wow.
That was wholesale in the production line when you actually added it as a component onto your system board.
But you think of the complexity. I don't know if the listeners understand the complexity of a microchip, but they're effectively, some of them are billions of tiny, tiny transistors, which are little switches, wired together in such a way to make logic work, actually wired together in a processor in such a way to make a computer language work, which drives everything we do. And that's all hardwired, unless you're an FPGA chip, and then you can software it. But anyway, this technology is like crazy microscopic, and it's getting smaller, and it's really hard to do. And we've stuffed ourselves because the major companies have gone, well, it doesn't really make sense for us to invest in a chip fab. We'll use Bob's over there in Taiwan. And when there's supply chain issues out of Bob's, it breaks the entire world's supply chain. You can't ship a car without chips. You can't ship a aeroplane without chips. You can't ship a manufacturing plant. You just cascades, right?
And what we're seeing now are things like up to 6 months lead time on new network product orders. So if you want a switch or you want a router or something like that, or a firewall, depends on how many you buy, but we're seeing quite large lead times from the larger manufacturers on what it's going to take them to get your orders in.
Yep.
They're even now bringing in things like, if you order it, you've committed to that order. Because it's taking so long to get orders through, they're seeing organisations just go and put in orders for, give me 1,000 this month, 1,000 next month, whatever. We'll just pre-commit to all of this stuff on the basis of, if they happen to start coming in, that's all right, we'll just cancel.
So
you can't cancel.
You can't cancel. This is not COVID causing this, right?
This is not a COVID thing.
Wow.
This is literally...
COVID exacerbates it a little bit. But
So if we look at like TSMC out of Taiwan, they actually had environmental issues. They had too much rain because of the drought. Not enough rain. Because of the drought. And they need a lot of water to run that particular plant. You do have the other environmental issues from China saying we've got these clean air targets or whatever it is they're trying to achieve.
So we're shutting down power.
So shut down the power to stop burning the coal, to stop, blah, blah, all of a sudden now that the factories stop. And then there's a debate about, well, hang on, what are we trying to do here?
Yep.
You've also got then the geopolitical side going, well, we don't want to buy stuff from that country. You need to bring manufacturing back into this country, blah, 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 and that creates tension and forced supply chain issues. But there's lots of things, and this identifies a whole new level of risk that just wasn't there.
So when you wander up to your MSP and go, I need a new wireless access point, and they say August, they're not mucking with you, right?
It's real. We've had serious supply issues, just in basic stuff from day to day.
Yep.
It's interesting. Someone actually said the other day, well, we need to all go buy some 3D printers and just start making this stuff.
Yeah, you can't print chips, though.
No, you can't print chips. But I actually heard an interesting comment the other day as well, that was a good concept, the 3D printer, but essentially China is our 3D printer.
Yes.
If you're going to buy a 3D printer to go and create 100 or 1,000 gizmos or whatever, it's actually just cheaper to go to a factory somewhere in China and say, hey, can you make me this?
Yeah, so 3D printing has got back to the realm where it should be, which is in prototyping.
Yeah, prototyping, a bit of modelling.
Great rapid prototyping tool. Yeah. But if you want lots made quickly, cheaply, we've been using China. But maybe we need to bring that on shore. I don't know. Maybe that's contentious.
I don't know. We've got a lot of land here in this country.
Yeah, we do have a lot of land.
Sand, a lot of heat from the sun.
We could build a fab.
Using solar power.
Yeah. Anybody in the audience got a couple of $100 billion to spend? We'll build a fab.
I'm sure no one's thought of this before.
Invested us. We've never done this before. It'll be fun. Right. Okay. Number 9. We're up to number 9. It's exciting.
Software development gets more granular.
What does that mean?
Now, we actually had to go and look this up.
We did.
I thought that could mean anything. So the concept is that in days past, you would actually have the enterprises with large development teams going and building bespoke applications end to end, like your CRM, your solution, your finance application, all of your business intelligence. They would actually build it, and you'd have a few hundred people sitting in floors somewhere going and writing all this code and pulling it together, because you couldn't just go on a shelf somewhere or to an internet site and say, oh, there's the app I need to run my business.
Yep.
But now you can.
You can, but smaller and smaller customers are getting involved in software development.
They are, because they're finding that the app that you go and get off the internet side for $100 a user or $5 a user a month or whatever it is really good at all the generic stuff.
Yep.
But all of a sudden now, there's 10,000 other businesses that have done exactly the same thing, and it doesn't give you a competitive advantage.
Yes. So competitive advantage comes from a software development capability. So if you're running a business out there, what this is saying is that your competitors are getting a software development capability, because software is the automation powerhouse of business.
That's right. And it's all these smaller projects. The software development today in companies is not like, let's go and write a big CRM platform that hooks in our finance, that does all of our databases. That's all been done. And in a lot of cases, you can get it open source for free if you know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's very much more, let's solve this little bit, right?
That's right. If we could fix that problem, well, look, we're spending $1 million a year addressing that issue. If we could write some code that did click, click, click.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, whoa, now what could we use that $1 million for? Oh, let's toss it at the next issue and automate that.
There we go. So software development into business. And because I run a software development team, that's awesome. Come talk to me. I can help with that.
Oh, we'll make sure the consulting group refers to it.
Yes. Now, when you're doing software development, some of the projects we have to do involve data.
They do.
And what CompTIA are talking about is the analytics revolution.
Yes.
And if I was to unpack that a little bit, it comes back to the fact that to run a really effective growth business, you need to make all your decisions based on the data, not on gut.
Correct.
So driving data analytics really seems to be the push among business. I want lots of data, I want to analyze it, but I think what comes with that is you need teams who know how to use the analytics tools.
Yeah.
Charts and graphs are lovely, but they tell you half the story. It's being able to drill in and slice and dice yourself. And these tools aren't difficult, but you need to be able to use them to make decisions.
Yeah, you need to know what you're looking at. I mean, you can produce data that says anything. It's the data that actually produces what you need to know that's the important bit. And this sort of is the last item there. And look, for whatever reason, someone's decided that foundational data management drives an analytics revolution is a great title.
It's a cracking title. I love it.
I think it's a good
It
excuse
just
for
rolls
someone to go and buy a copy of Grammarly.
Rolls off the tongue.
But the concept is there.
The concept's there, and I think it comes down to, I think I've said this before, when I joined Microsoft, there was a thing called MS Sales, Microsoft Sales. And Microsoft Sales that they gave to you as a new employee in Microsoft had all of the sales history of every product and every customer. And it was one big fat pivot table. And really, you got this empty pivot table and went, well, that's MS Sales. What do I do with that?
Yeah.
It's a pivot table. Go use it. And that expectation, when I joined that company, from every level of the business as to your capability with IT. No, they didn't say, and they also said, if you want to learn about it, here's a bunch of resources, go and do it yourself. But no training courses, and
No.
go learn and experience it.
But if I put a bucket on the table and there's 100 bits of paper in there of all different colours with numbers and whatever written on them, and I told you, hey, the answer's in there, and you'd be looking at it going, well, I'm sure it is, but what's the question?
Yeah.
What do I do with all this data? If I said, well, go and pick up the 6 green bits of paper out of all of this, that's next week's lotto numbers. And all of a sudden you win lotto and you're a millionaire overnight. Yep. So, well, that was really valuable. I learnt what to do with specific parts of data that was in that big bucket of data.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Where are the hidden $1 million answers in all the data that you've got?
And they're certainly there, right?
They are there. You've got to know what you're looking for. And this is where you get people like business analysts coming in or product managers with that analytics flair.
Cool. That's interesting. So to recap, right?
Yes.
Channel Cybersecurity's got some distance to go.
It does indeed.
Right? And you've got no idea whether they're good. Consulting's a big opportunity. People are going to want to do more with what they have and use technology better. That's
Yes.
concerning. We've got a big problem with supply chain.
It's not going to go away quickly.
No, it's going to be around for a while. Software development into smaller and smaller organizations,
Yes.
solving more niche problems.
Yes, if we can only find the developers.
Wow,
Separate issue.
I've got a team of those. And data management and an analytics revolution.
Yeah, look, the data play is going to be big, and I just we've gone from like doing it in Excel to doing it in Power BI to now the next version of here are all the analytics tools that are starting to come out. Some of them are getting a bit harder to use, but once you get used to them, they're quite good. But you do have to know what you're doing.
Excellent. So that was CompTIA's Industry Outlook Part 2. Thank you, Scott. That was interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's all right. Thank you, Nick. We'll see in a year's time how many of these actually hold true. But I'm going to tell you, they all seem fairly valid.
They do. They
all ring a bell somewhere.
So if you do like what you've heard, please like and subscribe. Make sure you follow us. We're on audible.com, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Also on Facebook, YouTube. Don't know where you found us, but we're on all of those places. Thank you so much for listening. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, last year we made a set of predictions about the industry.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to unpack those and see how we did. I think that will be a fascinating Christmas episode.
What did we get out of 10?
Yeah, probably 0. But
Can you go negative?
Yeah, we probably can. But thank you so much for watching. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Have a fantastic day.